Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, today we are going to be looking at some of the latest offerings from Archon Studio. All right, folks, here we go. We're jumping into the good stuff now. Stay tuned, though, if you want to see the packaging, how everything looked on the sprue, all that kind of stuff, the individual pieces before I put them together. I do have all of that recorded that I will insert at the end of this. But I just wanted to, this is what everyone's here to see, right? The completed builds. Now, what I ended up doing is building with the pieces, matching the little sample build on the back of the box. So as you can see, I mean, that's just night and day. How gorgeous is that? All painted up. But even so, this still looks fantastic. So, full disclosure, Archon Studio sent me both of these sets for review, both the Pathfinder Terrain Abomination Vaults and the Dwarven Mine. So what are we looking at here, folks? First of all, let me say, go on right now, archon-studio.com. These are available now. No need to wait for a Kickstarter to fulfill. These are on the web store or your other, friendly local game store. See if they can order them for you. But how cool is this? Especially the Pathfinder Terrain. We have officially licensed Abomination Vaults. You'll notice these are half height walls on both of these. The Dwarven Mine as well. Notice it mentions 5e compatible Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Obviously, this kind of miniature terrain is system agnostic. You can use this for anything. Using the Dungeons & Lasers system, you'll see a little bit of that later when I look at the clips, how the walls clip in, the floors clip together, what have you. This Pathfinder terrain set retails for $69. The Dwarven Mines set retails for $59, 75 pieces and 72 pieces respectively. Let's look. I have some leftover pieces here. So these are, and we're going to go off the tripod now. I know, dangerous territory, because we need to fly in here and take a look at some of this detail. Look at the stonework. Folks, I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know if you are familiar with the Dungeons & Lasers terrain from Archon Studio. But if you are new, then this may be pretty exciting to see the detail on this stuff. It is unpainted, but it requires no glue. So even a miniature crafting novice like myself can do this pretty easily. So with this Pathfinder Abomination Vault set, you get 12 floors, 30 walls, 6 doors, 6 doorways, and 21 accessories. That grid in there is 30 millimeters. So actually just over an inch. And that's actually not too bad because obviously when you have miniatures swinging their weapons around, you have a little bit of wiggle room there. Also, the half-height walls are 25 millimeters tall. You can see the size of the doors. That is about the height of a full-size wall. Speaking of the doors, that's right. These doors are fully functional. How cool is that? Here, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, because I have one extra door that was not used in the Dwarven Mine build to show you how this works. That's right, they just clip right in there, the hinges do, and then the door itself pops open, and it'll stay in any position that you want it to be in. Fully open, fully closed, what have you. How great is that? All right, anyway, back to this. I mean, first of all, we used most of the pieces. There are still some pieces here. Now, some of these exterior wall pieces and interior floor clipping pieces. I just combined both set extras. So out of both sets, these were the extra pieces we had there, and then a bunch of just little accessory pieces. But everything else I have put into this build, including these columns, which come in two pieces and just snap together. I used one column, just the two separate halves of it, to lean them up against a wall for a little bit of a regal look. And then we have a lot of this little scatter terrain. So of course, all of this comes on sprues. Again, fast forward or stay tuned to see what it all looked like on sprues. I cut it all out. I cleaned it up. You definitely have to do that. You'll notice some of the marks from where the sprues were. Some of these wall and floor pieces were attached to the sprue. To get everything to fit nicely, because of how well made the Dungeons and Lasers terrain is from Archon Studio, how precise everything is, you definitely want to clean it up because everything fits so tight. Again, it's friction fit, so no glue. As far as a lot of the other accessory pieces, we have these little torch sconces. There's some of these walls, even though they're half-height walls, they still have this rounded area above for you to be able to insert those. So here's a couple of the walls without an insert piece, and we do have some extra torches in case you wanted to stick those in there as well. Floors with the grates in there. I mean, this is all the pieces from one set. All the floors, all the walls. Let's stick some figures in here because I, of course, had some figures at hand so that we could see exactly what this looks like. So when we're talking a 1-inch base, that's the little extra wiggle room around the base. It's actually kind of nice, right? And here are just some other figures. So obviously you're going to probably have skeletons or something in here. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Abomination vaults of Pathfinder, so maybe skeletons aren't involved. But again, this stuff is so miniature agnostic. You can use this with anything, but just look how fantastic that looks. Even with the half-height walls, if I get down here to table level, if you're across the table looking down, you can still see all the figures because of those half-height walls. It's just fantastic. And if you had more talent than I do and be able to paint it up looking like something like that, how freaking awesome is that? So that is the Pathfinder Abomination Vaults set. You get a decent bang for your buck, right? I mean, this is an entire adventure right here. Depending on which way you're entering, you have certain ways you can go. Individual rooms, larger, grand areas with maybe walls separating them. And here's almost what I assume is like a dungeon area with a couple of cells in there. So overall, a decent footprint for $69 retail. You get all of what you see here. Fully functioning doors, no glue, available now. Don't have to wait for a Kickstarter to fulfill. And then, here we go with the Dwarven Mine. It doesn't matter who you are, what system you're playing, what adventure you're running, you're going to eventually need some kind of a mine complex, right? And again, with the half-height walls, look at these walls with the wood and the stone. Just imagine that all painted up. Well, here, you don't even have to imagine it anymore because I'll show you on the back of the box how they did it. How fantastic does that look? Some of the floors, they put some water on there. But otherwise, just the stone and mud and wood. But look at all that OSL on the lanterns and everything. Those were some of my favorite accessories in this set. So with this Dwarven Mines set, again, retails at $59. You get all of what you see here, plus some extras. I might as well just dump those out now. Here was what was not used in the build that they did as an example. So I just wanted to follow exactly what they did, though I did throw this extra door down here because this doorway, again, yeah, you don't have to leave the doors attached to the doorway, but we have, again, the torch sconces there. The doors, once again, fully open and close as you may want to have. But look at these lantern posts. I mean, come on. See if we can get a close-up on those. How fantastic are those? These are just going to be fantastic for just your normal village. If you wanted to, light the town. Those are fantastic little posts. So it came with a couple extras. It came with 6 total of them. But 2 of them weren't used in the build itself. 1 extra door, 2 extra of these walls, and then I have a bunch of these. That's what we need to talk about now. Before we get into that, 72 pieces, 30 walls, 12 floors, 6 doors, 6 doorways, and 18 accessories. Here is what I left. 1 open plug, because we've disguised all the others. You probably didn't even realize when you looked at this. They include these little rock plugs to plug those holes, because the way the system works is you can subdivide the floors with the walls with the pegs. So this would just slot right down in there, and that peg would go right down in that hole. And you can see how the wall edges are angled, so you can have a 4-way going on there. Like, you could actually stick that door right down in there too, and just subdivide that up with a door in the middle of it all. But if you don't, and just have an open area, you have these little stone plugs, so that now, boom, how gorgeous is that? Now you don't have any unsightly holes. And I didn't mention that over here, you would have the same, except over here, whoops, we have these little round plugs that are just flat little cylinders with maybe some, a little bit of sculpting maybe. But those dots plug up the holes over here in the dungeon system. Now, those had been there. If you're familiar with Dungeons and Lasers, you recognize all those little dots. But these little rock pieces, to my knowledge, are brand new, and just absolutely disguise all the holes. But look how nice that looks with the torch sconces, the doors. Look at all the detail in the floors and the walls. There are several different styles of wall. So as you can see, some walls have some wood in there, some are just the stone, and then you have these longer walls. And each side is different. So there's 2 of these longer walls, these 4 space wide walls. And as you can see, this one has stone, wood, stone on one side, and then on the other, it's this kind of half wood, half stone on each side there. So as you can see, again, decent sized footprint. Enter in here, through here you have an office or something on one side, through this doorway into a larger chamber over here, and there's another room that way. Tread carefully down that passage into potentially the final room there. Let's stick some of our skeletons over here. So again, everything's gridded out, especially on this mine set where the grid is a little bit more subtle, but it is still there. But there you can see, these are strictly 28 millimeter. These are from Mantic Games for the Dungeon Saga game. I do not know where these metal figures originated, but as you can see, they look absolutely right at home with these half-height walls. It looks absolutely fantastic. So depending on how you want to go, and again, doesn't matter what system you use, you are going to just have the perfect terrain, because look at this. Watch this. What happens if we wanted to, let me spin this around. Combine the 2. Let's say we had a doorway over here instead, because all this stuff is modular. Again, here is the clip, and I show more detail of how the whole system works. And I don't know if you just caught that, but yes, I moved this entire thing around because everything's clipped together, so you can move the entire build around. And if you didn't want to clip the whole thing and have, a section unclipped from another section and fly the sections in as the players discover them, that would be totally fine too. Let's stick a door over here instead. And then now we can combine these 2 sets together. Actually, we didn't even need a door there. We don't even need a door there because we have a door on the other side. So let's take that off and then do this. Boom. Of course, I probably want to take out those clips there, to make that flush together. But there you have it. Look at this. How about that, huh? I mean, now you can start over here when you're entering into this temple complex with multiple paths to go. But now if you head through this door, now you're into the subterranean layer of the mines. And you have all of this. I mean, look at that. That's pretty impressive, right? So that, what would that be? 70 and 60. So about $130 or so. A little less than that. And that's retail price. You might be able to find it less expensive at other retailers too. But that's a decent size adventure. I mean, just there right by itself. So yeah, we have a few extra pieces left over, some walls and doors and a couple more torches and some more extra clips. But that, in a nutshell, folks, is the latest offerings from Archon Studios in their Dungeons and Lasers system, both with these half-height walls. I actually wanted to do this. Let me zoom out for a second, because am I able to do this? I didn't even try. Can I lift this entire thing up? Of course, some of the pieces are going to fall over. You might be able to. Look at that. I just picked up this entire build. You can fly it in from one room to another. Can I do the same thing over here? I absolutely can. I already kind of feel it buckling, though. Maybe not. It's one of those situations where, yes, it is possible to keep this, not entirely clipped together, but instead clip sections together and then fly in those sections as the players explore them. But that is it, folks. I am blown away. And you know me, I'm more of a pre-painted, pre-assembled person, but I have always loved the way that Archon Studio does these Dungeons and Lasers pieces with their clip system. The way they clip their walls and floors together is absolutely ideal. All right, I keep talking. I keep trying to shut it down, but I keep talking because I can't stop just absolutely waxing poetic about the Dungeons and Lasers system from Archon Studio, and that'll do it, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it, and until next time. All right, folks, here are the two sets still in their package. So let's just go over packaging really briefly. And I gotta say, there is something that I haven't noticed on prior sets that I am loving, and that is the fact that it looks like these boxes have lids. So they're not just, the side open flaps that we are used to, which is going to make it so nice, because so often, so many little pieces, if you use the boxes for storage, the little pieces will fall out the side. So now that it's going to have a lip around it with a lid on top, I think that should alleviate those concerns. So there's a win right there. So here is the Dungeons and Lasers Dwarven Mines set, again with their new half-height walls. 72 pieces in this one. It does mention being D&D 5th edition compatible. The other one, this is, I don't want to say the star of the show, but this is super exciting, right? Officially licensed Pathfinder terrain for the Abomination vaults, again with that half-height wall system. 75 pieces in this one. Let's take a look at the back. Again, as usual, I'm not sure if this is an example of every piece being used, so this is what you could create with one single set. We're definitely going to have to explore that after we get all the pieces unclipped and everything. But you've obviously got the doors, which they do mention they're fully functional. I do see hinges there, so that's going to be interesting to take a peek at. The built-in grid, of course, the half-height walls, as we mentioned, the different customization aspects with the wall torches and the columns and things, and how modular it is to set everything up. So that is a look at everything you get. 12 floors, 30 walls, 6 doors, 6 doorways, and 21 customization bits. Does mention, you're going to need some clippers to clip it out, paint it up if you want to, but no glue is required. It's all push fit. Now, occasionally you may have a loose piece that you do want to glue down, and that is your prerogative, but otherwise not necessary. And then with the other set, this one comes with 12 floors, 30 walls, 6 doors, 6 doorways, and 18 customization bits. Similar thing there. I'm not entirely sure just yet if that is what you can build with one full set. But we are going to be taking a peek at that. Again, doors with hinges, doorways, a very subtle looking grid. So you do still have the grid for tactical movement. Again, half height walls, the little details. And again, it is also modular. So those are the two sets. Now let's unshrink them and see what the sprues look like. All right, folks, we are all tripoded up. Let's crack these bad boys and girls open. I'm excited to see what these look like. You know me, if you've followed my channel for any length of time, I am a pre-painted, pre-assembled connoisseur at heart. But with the way Dungeons and Lasers do their, and I guess I should say Archon Studio in general, does their terrain with how push fit everything is. Oh, it's just an absolute joy. So first, when you open up the package, here we go. Look at this. Look at this scene. How gorgeous is that? Combining the sets together, the mines on the outside, and then you have the Abomination vaults within. Little scroll of assembly, it says here. Perfect. So if you're new to the hobby, there are some tips and tricks for getting everything out of the packaging and looking absolutely handsome. Now, what is this? Looks like a mini little catalog. Excellent. Well, you gotta love that. Here you go, 69 bucks. And I just had my little talking point sheet over here at the ready to go over that, but we have that right here. 69 bucks gets you what's in the Abomination Vaults package. 59 bucks for the Dwarven Mine. So a little less expensive. So about for under 60 bucks, you get all that terrain. How fantastic. And then, of course, the other bits that they've previously released, like the fantasy customization bits. Because this terrain is so modular, you can plug and play. And I mean, this is just straight up dungeon dressing right here. This is for anything. If you have Warlock tiles, Dwarven Forge, whatever the case may be. And then look at all these animal companions, plus this vending machine that comes to life. Look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. It's like a mimic vending machine. And then we have some of these absolutely gorgeous dragons. Oh, if I could only paint like this one. Oh, how cool is that? And one last one on the back. All right, so those are all the inserts. And then you always are going to see this sprue here, which is one of the most important sprues that has all of the clips. Then they're not necessarily clips because everything's friction fit, not necessarily a click system, but it has all of the little I still want to call them clips that will clip the tiles together, and your exterior walls will go onto those, and these are for clipping the floors together. And then here is what we've been waiting for. Look at the detail, the stonework on the floors. You have little grates embedded in some of them. You have these fantastic looking walls. Look at the detail there. Absolutely gorgeous. That's something that no one can deny, that Archon Studio does a fantastic job detailing their terrain. Here is the first of these new doors with, you can see the hinges go in there. I'm excited to get these two pieces out and plug them together and see how well the door opens and closes. That'll be a big one. This is it looks like an identical sprue, the exact same thing. You have the longer walls, the shorter walls, but as you can see, they are only that height. And they're 25 millimeter. So there's some stats for you, because I researched this ahead of time. So the grid is actually 30 millimeters. Each square is 30 millimeters, and the walls, the half height walls, are 25 millimeters high. And of course, once we get this all put together and whatnot, we'll have some figures out there to show what the scale actually looks like. And is this another one? Looks like another one. Another fantastic sprue of pieces. Look at these columns. Now, this is only half a column, so we're going to have to assemble those together, which again should require no glue. Here is sprue number 4. Looks like 1, 2, and 3. And is this going to be again? I'm actually loving how simple this is, because even though they are the same sprue, from what I can see, you know, you get a bunch of the different pieces on each sprue, so there is still a lot of variety there. And I can only imagine when you put them all together with other sets, how much variety you're going to have in your dungeon. And that's it. That was it. There were six sprues of the walls and floors and doors, and 1 sprue of the clips, and that's it. There's your 7. And look at this. Look at this box. This is a box, folks. I'm almost more excited about the box. The fact that it has a lid now, so you can absolutely store your tiles in here without the worry of the smaller pieces, like the torches, like the little nubs that you stick in the middle to close up the gaps in the floors. Those aren't going to be rolling out of the corner of a flip open flap. Absolutely love it. So that is going to be one of the 2 boxes that we are going to be unclipping and putting everything together. Now let's move on to this, the Dwarven Mine. Unshrink it, and I assume it's going to be very similar. I almost want to bet right now. The first thing we're going to see is that clip sprue, and it absolutely is. And then, do you think it's going to be the same as the other one, where it's going to be 6 sprues of identical pieces? Well, I can already tell you that's not going to be the case. Well, actually, it may be, because it was just flipped the other way around. So here we go. Let's take a closer look. Look at the floors. Look at the water pools that you could paint in there. You see the ripples in the water. Oh, how fantastic is that? Again, the doorway with the wooden frame. Look at the wooden doors. Absolutely love those. But I love these stand alone, and they're 1-piece castings. These lamp posts, these lantern posts. Oh, you gotta love those. Oh, I'm sorry. We also need to take a peek at the walls. You can see they're framed in wood and stone in the center. And here's a nice long one. Fantastic. And I assume, again, here we go. Here's sprue number 3 of the actual detailed pieces, number 4 overall. And again. And again. So for these, again, are going to be base sets. So, you know, you have the basic floors, the 2x2s, the 2x4s. You have, it looks like a 4-length wall and a few 4 2-length walls. And you'll notice the holes in the top of the wall. That's where you can plug in some of those torches and whatnot. And here you go. So it's easy as that. You got 6 sprues with actual detailed stuff on it, 1 sprue with all the clips to hold everything together. And I don't know why I'm packing these back in the box, because I'm now going to unclip all of this. So that is the packaging for these gorgeous products. And the next time I see you, I will have each of these unclipped. We'll take a look at the full layout, unbuilt, and we'll be back. All right, folks, and here we have the Abomination vaults all unclipped. Now, these aren't cleaned up yet, so you'll notice there's a lot of still sprue remnants along the bottoms of some of these pieces, and it's imperative that you get that cleaned up, especially on the walls and floors, where you can see, you know, the little sprue remnants there, because when you put these floors together, those little sprue remnants are going to impact your ability to have a flush fit. And with how precise these Dungeons & Lasers pieces are, a flush fit is imperative. So what do you get? With the Abomination vaults, for $69 retail, you have 12 floors, 6 of which are the 2x4s and 6 are the 2x2s, with this very nice looking grate in the center. I mean, just look at the detail work on that. That looks absolutely fantastic. You also get 6 of these doors and doorways, and they're fully functional, because yes, you can plug the hinges right into the door and then shut the door, come on, focus, and open the door. I mean, just how perfect is that? They look fantastic, and the fact that they actually swing open and close is great. You also have all these columns, so you could put these columns together, and some rubble pieces. You know I love some dungeon dressing, so these rubble pieces are fantastic. I combined all the little bits when I was unclipping it, not thinking of the Dwarven Mines set and the Abomination Vault set. So probably only about half of these little bits actually belong to this set. But it's all just the little things like these little torch sconces that'll plug into the walls, because some of the walls have, where's one that doesn't? Here we go. So some of the walls have nothing across the top, and some have that little raised area where you can plug in the torch sconces. So the system, of course, is fantastic when you are combining floors. As we'll see in the actual build, you'll use the double length clips. And of course, again, you're going to have to clean it up, because see, even just a little sprue remnant is going to impact that from going in there entirely. But that's how you would combine floors together with one of those clips. And see the hole in the center. That's where you can then put in a wall. That's why those walls have pegs on the bottom, so you can subdivide a floor with a wall like that. Or these exterior wall clips, same thing. They just clip on there and create a peg hole so that you can then put in an exterior wall on the outside. So, I mean, it just looks absolutely fantastic. It looks fantastic unpainted. Just imagine what it would look like painted. In fact, you don't have to imagine, because they have a gorgeous look on the back with, oh, look at that. Imagine having a full set painted up like that. That's just absolutely gorgeous. So that is what everything looks like for the Abomination Vault set unclipped. Now I'm going to get this cleaned up, and we're actually going to build some layouts with this and the Dwarven Mines set. All right, folks, here it is, the Dwarven Mine, completely unclipped. So here are all the pieces that you're going to get in the Dungeons & Lasers half-height walls Dwarven Mines set, retailing for $59. You get 72 pieces, including 30 walls, 12 floors, and 6 doors, 6 doorways, and 18 of what they call accessory pieces. So taking a closer look at some of these, and these are not cleaned up yet. I just unclipped them, wanted to show you what the pieces themselves look like before I clean up the little sprue bits, and of course lay out a layout. So here's a door and a doorway. Yes, they are functional. You can put the hinges into the door and then have the door closed. Of course, it'll close better with those clippings removed, and also open. So that is a fantastic functioning door. But these have to be some of my favorite pieces here. These lantern posts. And these are freestanding. These are one-piece castings. If it'll focus, there we go. Look at that. Look at the detail in the stone. Look at the detail in the wood. For those of you who have followed Archon Studio, you know the detail they put into their pieces. So you get 6 of these 2x4 floors. You get 6 of the 2x2 floors. And you get, again, 30 walls, 6 of which are these longer walls. But in this Dwarven Mines set, with the theme being stone, mud, and watery looking floors, and of course these walls all trimmed in wood with the stone inlaid, and they just look so fantastic. Some of the wall, of course, there's a couple different styles of walls, including this style that has the peg hole in the top where you can put some of these accessory pieces. Now these, I put all the accessories from both the Dwarven Mine and the Abomination Vaults into this cup. So think about half of this belongs to this set specifically. But those peg holes are where you can put these torch sconces, if that'll focus. So you can plug those into the walls. And of course, a whole bunch of these, which I do not believe these are included in the piece count. So it's not like, oh, and also those floor clippings are included in the piece count. Actually, maybe they are. I have no idea. Because it's 30 walls, 12 floors, that's 42, plus 6 is 48. 58 plus 70. Well, I don't know. I don't know if these are or not, but these have all the clips you need to clip the floors together. Of course, with this system, it is one of my favorite systems because when you put the floors together, then you have a piece like this. It may not fit the best right now because I haven't cleaned them up yet, but that is how it'll go in to hold the floors together. And then when you have the exterior walls, you take one of the exterior wall pieces and pop that onto one of these floors, and then it creates the peg hole to then put in one of the exterior walls, or I guess also interior walls, but this specific clip is for the exterior walls. And then when you actually have connected two floors together, it also creates that peg hole, so then you can subdivide the room with one of these other walls as well. So then you can have, you know, your whole layout subdivided up with these walls and floors and this clip system, which is absolutely brilliant. But the key to making everything fit is cleaning up the pieces once you have clipped them out of the sprues. That is the one thing you have to make sure to do. Otherwise, things are just not going to fit because of how precise these Dungeons and Lasers sets are. It's a tight fit, so you're going to need to clean these up, which we are going to do before we put together our full build.